Hey, it's Dave Chapin. Welcome to the Wolf Sports YouTube channel. We're diving into the 5 strongest rosters in the NFL for 2025. Let's get started. Let's jump right in with an honorable mention. The Bills do not make the top 5. Don't want to put a ton of stock into the preseason, but I think the roster depth has been seen as a bit of an issue. If I was them, I'd be all over Micah Parsons trying to get him into the fold. That would maybe put them over the top and give them a top 2 or 3 roster. Having Josh Allen, you can make a case they should be in the top 5, probably at number 5. But overall, I think a pretty solid top 5, starting with number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You could say Josh Allen, being a team carrier at quarterback, should give them the edge. Broncos, another roster to watch if young receivers step up. But the Buccaneers have a top roster at almost a sneaky level. Chris Godwin Jr. needs to get healthy, coming off the bad ankle injury from last year. Jalen McMillan now dealing with the neck, but when they're healthy, along with Mike Evans and first-round pick Emeka Egbuka, who has been turning heads all summer, a deep stable of running backs in Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Sean Tucker, a top offensive line led by left tackle Tristan Wirfs, who also needs to get healthy, and center Graham Barton, a competent quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who might get even better with plenty of experience he has now at this point in the league, a few different teams. Hopefully he can cut down on the interceptions some. And then defensively, star defensive tackle Vita Vea commands things up front to typically make the Bucs tough to run on under head coach Todd Bowles. It was surprisingly weak at times last year, but look for Bowles to get that on track. They added edge rusher Hassan Reddick, looking to have a bounce-back campaign. At linebacker, Levante David's been a stalwart for Tampa Bay. The secondary includes stud safety Antoine Winfield Jr., the underrated and lengthy cornerback Jamel Dean, and second-round cornerback Benjamin Morrison, a potential rookie steal who dropped in the draft due to durability concerns. Actually, Morrison's talent could have been a much higher pick. Helps push the Bucs over the top and into the number 5 spot. The number 4 strongest roster in the NFL for 2025 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think these 4 teams are definitely the best 4 rosters in the league heading into the season. Maybe just looking at them as individuals, you might not say they have superstars all over the place, but you can make a case for the Chiefs to be the top roster given how well head coach Andy Reid and general manager Brett Veach piece it together to construct a winning team with everything fitting together. Remember, Rashee Rice was injured last season with a knee injury, was looking like a legitimate wide receiver 1 option for Patrick Mahomes, and KC also has speedster Xavier Worthy, veteran Hollywood Brown, an impressive 4th-round rookie Jalen Royals, and a stacked receiving group. Tight end Travis Kelce, of course, looking to return to form in what could be his final season. All-pro defensive lineman Chris Jones remains a headliner on the other side of the ball. Also, the offensive line, which has consistently been a strength with a powerful interior, despite occasional struggles at the tackle spots, though they did lose Joe Thuney in trading him to the Bears. But overall, the offensive line could be the best in the league now, after somehow getting Ohio State left tackle Josh Simmons with the number 32 pick in the draft. Trey Smith was a steal a few years ago, highest paid guard in NFL history now, and center Creed Humphrey was just an All-Pro in 2024. Back to constructing a winning roster, the Chiefs bring in players who just do their jobs on both sides of the ball this offseason in 26-year-old cornerback Christian Fulton to join a unit with Trent McDuffie, linebacker Nick Bolton, edge George Karlaftis. You gotta like how the Chiefs piece everything together. Now to number 3, the Ravens. Again, this order could vary. You can make a strong case for them at number 1. Let's start with a duo of quarterback Lamar Jackson and running back Derrick Henry. A super dangerous pick your poison with the way the 2-time MVP Jackson has been distributing the ball to a group of productive weapons in tight ends Isaiah Likely, a rising star, and Mark Andrews, wide receivers Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and veteran addition DeAndre Hopkins, and the backfield of Henry, Justice Hill, and the speedster Keaton Mitchell, now healthy and looking dangerous in the preseason. I'm watching how Hopkins plays at 33 years old for Baltimore. The 2 biggest additions to the Ravens roster this year were probably first-round safety Malachi Starks and star cornerback Jair Alexander. I love those 2 pickups, as Starks can be an elite ball hawk on the back end of the defense, potentially freeing up Kyle Hamilton some, and Alexander, clearly a top-notch all-around defender, who'll bring an additional edge to the secondary and just needs to stay healthy. They both feel like they're going to fit right in as Baltimore Ravens. Marlon Humphrey was just an All-Pro last year in the slot at nickel, and Nate Wiggins at the 3rd cornerback spot gives the squad a secondary of all first-round picks. Then I didn't even mention Roquan Smith yet, might be the best off-ball linebacker in football. The interior defensive line includes Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones. The offensive line and edge rush probably aren't quite as strong as the other teams in the top 4, but at least the O-line should be well above average. And Baltimore did finish second in the NFL in sacks last season, despite, I guess you can say, not having a superstar headliner edge rusher. At number 2, the Detroit Lions. Speaking of edge rush, the return and presence of defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, said to be looking unstoppable this summer in his return from a broken leg, is a big part of why I have the Lions slotted as the top 2 roster in the NFL for 2025. And not only Hutchinson, but the entire defense, which was decimated by injuries at an unbelievable level last season, can be a force at full strength. Opposite Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport also missed most of last season and is an under-the-radar key player around the league this year. The defensive line includes Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, first-round pick Tyleik Williams, while the secondary is loaded with cornerbacks Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, free agent signing DJ Reed, safeties Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, with plenty of depth in the secondary. The one question, and it's a big one, that could make this number 2 ranking look ridiculous in hindsight given its importance, is the interior offensive line, as the franchise didn't expect foundational center Frank Ragnow to retire late in the offseason. Detroit is moving Graham Glasgow from guard to center, with 2024 6th-rounder Christian Mahogany at left guard, and 2025 second-round pick, a rookie Tate Ratledge, at right guard. They're bookended by All-Pro right tackle Penei Sewell and the steady Taylor Decker at left tackle. But the interior may be a bigger question than you'd like. I think it'll turn out okay. And as Ben Johnson said when he left for the Bears head coaching job, the Lions have basically built a machine, which should be fine without him. Jared Goff is a tough, experienced, and highly accurate pocket passer who can work off play action with the ultra-talented Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in the backfield. Goff can feed those 2 backs in the passing game as well, has Amon-Ra St. Brown, potential breakout superstar Jamison Williams, who I talked about as being my number 1 target in fantasy football drafts, so I'd try to get him in your leagues if possible, and tight end Sam Laporte as well in the passing game. General manager Brad Holmes is arguably the best drafter in the NFL, and his home run drafts are a big reason the Lions can win a Super Bowl. After years of getting ripped for subpar drafts where Eagles fans were shaking their heads almost immediately after picks every spring, general manager Howie Roseman survived long enough to eventually flip the switch and help the franchise go on an insane run. It's difficult to have a better stretch from 2021 on, not only with remarkable drafts, which included adding Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, now with the Patriots, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean with their top picks, but also totally stealing superstar wide receiver A.J. Brown, taking full advantage of the Giants foolishly letting Saquon Barkley walk in free agency, and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio identifying All-Pro Zach Bond as an off-ball linebacker. Plus, in 2020, you got to give some credit to former Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson for pushing the draft future Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts at quarterback, with team owner Jeffrey Lurie reportedly pushing for it as much as anyone too. Maybe Lurie's input was a tiebreaker between Peterson and the front office, which loved Carson Wentz, you might remember. Regardless, the decision to draft Hurts in the second round, which wasn't that surprising because it's an organization that craves quarterbacks and values them probably higher than anyone, and then stick with him when Nick Sirianni was hired. Many pushed for competition to be brought in and for Hurst to be phased out even, which Lurie reportedly shut down. Overall, it was a franchise-altering move, so Peterson deserves a nod there. Not only has Hurst played at an incredibly high level for Philadelphia, but he's had a positive impact on the front office, which has wisely listened to him seemingly whenever he's made a suggestion. Hurts was best friends with A.J. Brown, so that helped make that trade happen and get a contract done quickly. As Roseman recently told the Bustin' with the Boys podcast, they had to get that contract done quick before that trade. And Hurts recently revealed that he's had a lot of conversations with the GM nudging him to go SEC in the draft, and Philly's certainly done that with a bunch of Alabama and Georgia picks, and it's worked out about as well as possible. The Jalen Carter pick, he was a little lower on a lot of boards because of character concerns, but he was in a perfect spot joining some Georgia teammates, including Jordan Davis next to him on the defensive line. And I'd watch Davis as he's already a very underrated interior defender, stout against the run, might get more opportunities as a pass rusher, pushing the pocket, which he can do well, but watch him as a potential breakout to maybe get closer to even an all-pro level. The development of players on Philly's roster to help them get to this level must be mentioned, most notably with the job offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland, who it might sound crazy but should arguably get Hall of Fame consideration even as an assistant coach, has done in ensuring the unit is elite, as the offensive line is an engine that drives the squad. Player development can go under the radar when it comes to building successful teams, but the Eagles, Lions, Ravens, and Chiefs are probably the best four at it, which is a big reason they lead the NFL's best rosters in 2025. So what do you guys think? Do the Eagles having such a strong roster, especially at a position like offensive line, which should be elite again, help them have a realistic shot to repeat as Super Bowl champions this year? Feel free to let us know what you think in the comments. If you haven't already subscribed, we hope you'll consider doing so. Those of you drafting for fantasy football this week, we wish you luck. It's a big week, big drafting week, Labor Day weekend. So good luck. We'll be back next week before the kickoff game on Thursday between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Thank you for watching.